all the Zoom meetings since last 6 months. And now today we are celebrating 200th day of uh, Zoom meeting of IFPH. So in the continuation of our yesterday's session, we have today our young minds again with us. So let's start. Without wasting any time, I call upon Dr. Shweta from Delhi. She will have talk on stress management and homeopathy. Over to Dr. Shweta. Dr. Shweta. I request the team to please unmute Dr. Shweta Tiwari.
Back end, please. Yes.
Yes, yes. Now I am unmute. Hello.
Dr. Sharma, you are co-host. You can unmute anybody from your side.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Shweta, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. First, good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Shweta Tiwari. I am PG scholar in State National Homeopathic Medical College, Lucknow. I want to thank Dr. Nuta Sharma ma'am for giving me this opportunity. And I also want to congratulate every member of IFPH committee for 200th day of these Zoom meetings. And now I will begin my talk. Today, I will be going to talk about one of the most important mental health concern that the world is facing today, and that is stress. So, before begin to talk about the role of homeopathy in the management of stress, let's first understand what is stress. So, stress is a normal response to situational pressures or demands, especially if they are perceived as threatening or dangerous. So, can stress be positive? The answer would be yes. Stress can be positive. Even a small amount of stress is necessary for us because it keeps us motivated and alert and ready to face the danger. So, when does stress becomes negative? Stress becomes negative when a person faces continuous challenge without a period of relaxation between the stressors. Everyone have different stress triggers. Some have work related stress, which is the most common cause of stress all over the world. um, Work related stress like being unhappy there in their jobs and working for long hours and not uh, getting promotions, and while other may have stress due to stressful life events such as death of loved ones, disappointed love, divorce, chronic illnesses, and sometimes stress can be originated from inside due to some self doubts, fears, worries, etc. When stress continues without relief, it can lead to a condition called distress. Distress can disturb the body equilibrium and can lead to many mental and physical symptoms such as irritability, sleeplessness, mood swings, and dietary like lack of appetite and or too much eating, headache, and upset stomach, sexual dysfunctions, and many more. Very often we see to relieve these stresses, many individuals engage themselves in compulsive use of substances or behaviors such as tobacco, alcohol, or debauchery, excess sexual indulgence, and excessive shopping, etc. So it becomes important to manage stress effectively. And here, where homeopathy can help. Homeopathy can play an important role in management of stress along with psychotherapy and lifestyle modifications. Lifestyle modifications such practicing yoga, meditation, daily exercise, reintroducing their hobbies in their lives. Um, a homeopath takes a detailed case history of the patient to find out the cause of the stress and to provide individualistic treatment to the patient. A large number of medicines are available in homeopathy for the treatment of stress related symptoms. I'm going to describe few indications of a few homeopathic medicines. So first medicine is aconite. Aconite is indicated when there is a state of anxiety, fear, and worry. Restlessness due to anxiety and worry. There may be increased thirst, body ache, and pain all over. Music is unbearable and makes her sad. Next medicine is arsenicum album. There is great anguish, restlessness, fear of diseases, cancer, heart disease, and attacks of anxiety at night, driving the patient out of bed. One more medicine is argentum nitricum. Here there is irritability, nervousness, anticipatory anxiety, and diarrhea due to anticipatory anxiety, and patient craves sugar. One more medicine is gelsemium. Gelsemium is indicated when there is bad effects of fright, fear, exciting news, sudden emotions, and it is also very good medicine for stage fright. And the patient may experience a sensation of a band around the head above the eyes. Next medicine is Coffea cruda. There is sleeplessness due to bad effects of sudden emotions or pleasurable surprises, and hasty eating and drinking, and headache. Other medicines which can help in the management of stress related symptoms are calibrome, natramune, nitric acid, ignitia, and aurum metallicum, picric acid, etc. Thank you for your patience listening.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. Dr. Shweta, during our course of study, we were asked to do certain stress management techniques, like certain exercises. Whenever you feel stressed about something, there were some kind of exercises to do. So
Like Anulom Vilom.
Yes, those are very effective.
Yes,
Secondly,
ma'am.
we used to do in our college time. And secondly,
Yes.
the counseling. If you get any kind of patient in stress, you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
do good counseling with homeopathic medicine. Like
Yes, ma'am.
what are the management of the stress in general?
Hmm.
4 A's to be remembered. One is avoid. You should avoid stressful events or person. And second, alter. You can alter the situation if possible, unnecessary stressful events or whatever. Or
Yes,
alter the
ma'am.
situation or adapt. Change yourself.
Hmm.
Like or accept if the grievance, the death of somebody in the family. So this is not in our hands.
Hmm.
So we accept. So these are these things you should do and ask to leave for your patients. Okay, one is stress management exercises with homeopathy. Secondly,
Ji.
counseling, how to
Yes, ma'am.
avoid stress.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you so much, Shweta. It was wonderful. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Our
you.
next guest is Dr. Priya Tiwari. She will have a talk on, again, lifestyle disorders and homeopathy. Dr. Priya Tiwari. Dr. Priya, are you there? Dr. Priya Tiwari? Yes. Dr. Priya? Over to
Hello.
you. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon to all of you. Today I, Dr. Priya Tiwari, PGT scholar at State National Homeopathic Medical College. I'm going to talk something about lifestyle disorders and homeopathy. So I'm going to share a screen. Is it audible?
Yes, you are audible, Priya.
Okay, okay. Now starting with the lifestyle disorders and homeopathy. Uh, what is actually the lifestyle disorders?
Priya, we cannot see your screen.
Hello? Share screen नहीं हो रहा है। Screen share करना।
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So starting about the lifestyle disorders and homeopathy, what is actually the lifestyle disorder? By itself means a disease acquired depending on the lifestyle one leads. This is encouraging in a way that if a person takes a step towards changing his her lifestyle, the burden of the disease is greatly reduced. Lifestyle diseases due to inappropriate relations of people with their environment. The onset of such diseases is insidious and may take years to develop. Like we can see the causes, common lifestyle diseases which are managed in our clinic like hypertension, dyslipidemia, heart diseases, obesity, asthma and diabetes. So the lifestyle disorders are the leading disease conditions at which are present in India and are affecting the health of every individual in many ways based on the lifestyle people live. So the different authors and different systems have their own concept of taking the case. Now here you can see the picture. Uh, there are some of the causes present here like processed food, stress, lack of sleep, smoking and alcohol, lack of socializing and inactivity with healthy diet. These are the causes which are leading to the unhealthy lifestyle disorders. And above we are seeing the different kind of lifestyle disorders like thyroid, anxiety, diabetes, cancer, hypertension, hormonal imbalance, heart diseases and PCOS. Now, lifestyle disorders are the diseases related with the unhealthy and unsuitable lifestyles. The frequency of lifestyle disorders increase as countries become more and more industrialized and developed. There are many lifestyle non-communicable diseases, but most common are hypertension, diabetes, type 2 CVS, obesity, depression, cancer, COPD, osteoporosis, arthritis, chronic liver disease or cirrhosis or metabolic diseases with renal failure, etc. Five most common lifestyle in India are hypertension, type 2 diabetes mellitus, obesity, heart diseases and cancer. Now, over the last couple of decades, India has seen enormous rise in the number of cases of lifestyle diseases. It has been observed that lifestyle diseases are prevalent in developed countries. In modern world, people consume junk and processed food, which leads them to a sedentary life and also acquire unhealthy habits, including themselves into smoking, alcohol consumption, poor sleeping patterns, and lack of physical activities. Lifestyle and diet are major factors which may influence susceptibility of a person to many diseases. Drinking alcohol, tobacco smoking, drug abuse, and also lack of exercise or too much exercise, especially later in his or her life, may increase the risk of getting lifestyle disorders. In adults, the impacted behavior factor can develop lifestyle diseases. These are poor social environment, unsafe life, working conditions, unemployment, home life, and stress. Other factors are eating fast food, overeating, eating processed food, artificial sweetness, energy drinks, poor exposure to sunlight, poor sleeping habits. Now, what is the role of homeopathy in lifestyle disorders? There are many roles of homeopathy, like it treats the cause, that is, takes out the disease from its root. It focuses on healing from within by utilizing the self healing power within, outside. Hence, it can be useful in preventing health care. Third, it helps in improving the immunity. It is fast to act with no side effects. Now, talking about the concept of homeopathy, so it was not easy for Dr. Henneman to just conceive it like falling off an apple. Instead, enough time was taken and carefully examined. He understood the concept meaning of healing, which originate from the word whole, meaning healing should be holistic, referring to a man as a whole. Dr. Henneman has mentioned lifestyle disorders in aphorism 77, footnote to aphorism 78, aphorism 94, 208, 261, and relate with that we have aphorisms 3rd, aphorism 4, 5, 7, footnote 1 to aphorism 7. Aphorism 204, 224, 225, 226, 238, 244, and also the footnote to aphorism 260. And next, I want to give the example of Dr. von Bonninghausen, which has repeated this in the lesser writing section, which naming clothing of mode of life. In that, he has discussed about some of the specific points of lifestyle disorder related to homeopathy. Now, how homeopathy can help in lifestyle disorders? The concept of homeopathic case taking in cases of lifestyle disorder is based on the clinical experience of various stalwarts since Dr. Henneman till date, as observed and studied by me in homeopathic practice as a PG scholar. Lifestyle disorders have becoming a leading disorder as per the present scenario of India. They are progressing more and affecting the health conditions of most of the population. There are many more than 200 lifestyle disorders. Most common among them is hypertension in India. To treat lifestyle disorder, we should know the basic on how to approach to patient, and this is done by knowing the different concept of homeopathic case taking on different stalwarts practicing in physicians practicing in urban setup as well as in rural setup. If maintenance of lifestyle is achieved with proper routine, diet, regular exercise, and avoidance of triggering factors, then lifestyle disorder can be decreased. And homeopathy is an important modality which can help in curing lifestyle disorders and plays a very significant role. So, this is all about the lifestyle disorder with homeopathy. And thank you for allowing me to participate in the contest. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. You were right. Homeopathy is the best, the most effective, least harmful and the most beneficial mode of system of medicine. Yes, to avoid we should avoid outside food, junk food, and we should more concentrate on plant oil, seeds like flax seeds, and you can say whole grain food, nuts, etc. Now I call upon
Yes, ma'am.
our next. Thank you so much, Dr. Priya. Now
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I invite our new speaker, Dr. Amit. Dr. Amit Kumar. He is presenting a case with you all. So over to Dr. Amit. Dr. Amit Kumar. Dr. Amit Kumar. Okay. One six zero one. Your ID is not visible here, Dr. Amit.
Vivo 1601.
1601. Yes. Okay. Over to you, Dr. Amit.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Yes. Audible.
I'm audible. Okay, ma'am. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Amit Kumar. I'm the scholar from State National Homeopathic Medical College, Lucknow, UP. Ma'am, I want to share my screen. Hello.
Yes. You can share.
Ma'am. Start now. Okay. Ma'am, my screen is visible, ma'am.
Yes. Visible.
Okay. Firstly, I am going to represent the case about hypothyroidism, but firstly discuss about simply a thyroid. Okay, then we will discuss about the case and what is thyroid. Firstly, discuss about the anatomy of thyroid. The thyroid gland is a highly vascularized organ located anteriorly in the neck, deep to the platysma, sternothyroid or sternohawaii muscles, and extending from the C5 to C1 vertebrae, cervical C5 to C1 vertebrae. The gland consists of two lobes, left and right, connected by a thin medium isthmus overlying the second to fourth tracheal ring, typically forming an H shape or U shape. The lobules of the gland are composed of follicles, the structural unit of the thyroid. Each follicle is lined by a simple layer of epithelium surrounding a colloid-filled core. This colloid contains iodothioglobulin, the precursor of the thyroid hormone. Here are pictures of thyroid gland, anterior and posterior view. Then we will discuss about the physiology. Follicular cells make the thyroid hormones thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine. In order to make these hormones, follicular cells need iodine, a mineral found in some foods, and iodized salt. These thyroid hormones control heart rate, body temperature, and metabolism. If too much of these hormones, called hyperthyroidism, can cause rapid and irregular heartbeat, trouble, sleeplessness, nervousness, hunger, weight loss, feeling of being too warm. and too little of these hormones, hypothyroidism, causes lack of energy, increased tiredness, weight gain. The amount of these thyroid hormones released by the thyroid gland is controlled by another hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone TSH or thyrotropin, which is released by the pituitary gland in the brain from inferior pituitary. Hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, also called underactive thyroid or low thyroid, is a common disorder of the endocrine system in which the thyroid gland does not produce enough thyroid hormone. It can cause number of symptoms such as poor ability to tolerate cold, a feeling of tiredness, constipation, depression, and weight gain. Occasionally, there may be swelling of the front part of the neck due to goiter. Untreated hypothyroidism during pregnancy can lead to delays in growth and intellectual development in the baby, which is called cretinine. Worldwide, too little iodine in the diet is the most common cause of hypothyroidism. In countries with enough iodine in the diet, the most common cause of hypothyroidism is the autoimmune condition Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Less common causes include previous treatment with radioactive iodine, injuries to the hypothalamus or the anterior pituitary gland, certain medications, a lack of functioning thyroid at birth, or previous thyroid surgery. The diagnosis of hypothyroidism, when suspected, can be confirmed with blood tests measuring TSH and thyroxine levels. Etiology. Hypothyroidism is caused by inadequate function of the gland itself, primary hypothyroidism, or by not enough stimulation by thyroid stimulating hormone, central hypothyroidism. Primary hypothyroidism is about 1,000-fold more common than central hypothyroidism. Then iodine deficiency is the most common cause of primary hypothyroidism and endemic goiter worldwide. In areas of the world with sufficient dietary iodine, hypothyroidism is most commonly caused by the autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, chronic autoimmune thyroiditis. Hashimoto's may be associated with a goiter. It is characterized by infiltration of the thyroid gland with T lymphocytes and autoantibodies against specific thyroid antigens such as thyroidoperoxidase, thyroglobulin, and the TSH receptors. After women give birth, about 5% develop postpartum thyroiditis, which can occur up to 9 months afterwards. This is characterized by a short period of hypothyroidism followed by a period of hypothyroidism. 20 to 40% remain permanently hypothyroid. Autoimmune thyroiditis is associated with other immune-mediated diseases such as diabetes mellitus type 1, pernicious anemia, myasthenia gravis, celiac disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. It may occur as part of autoimmune polyendocrine syndrome type 1 and type 2. Here, sign and symptom, a picture of hypothyroidism. Now, case of hypothyroidism. Persons 41 years male, occupation IT sector, presenting complaint, sneezing since 1 month, modalities, aggravation, morning on baking, amelioration by hot drinks, hair fall since 1 month. HOPC, history of presenting complaint. Patient was apparently well few months back, after which he started developing hair fall and weight gain. Few months back, he had a conflict with one of his clients because of which he was not able to express his anger on the client. He also had been suffering from severe sneezing since then. On getting investigation done, TSH was found to be elevated 11.4 on 29/5/2019. Past history of the illness: pneumonia 15 years back, hypersensitivity to beans, personal history, birth history. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, continue.
Okay, ma'am. Personal history, birth history, prenatal, natal, and postnatal, and early development normal. Childhood and adolescence development is normal. Habit nil. Alcohol and smoking are absent. Diet vegetarian, but junk food intake every week. Environment at home is stressed. Environment at workplace is congenial. Okay. Next. Family history: father suffer from eczema, mother suffer from hypertension. Physical general: appetite, warm food desire, desire, sweets, aversion, beans, intolerance, nothing significant. Thirst, 4 to 5 liters per day, always thirsty. Test, nothing significant. And stool, constipation, urine, pale yellow, I can see urine is normal. Perspiration, profuse, more on head, sleep disturbed, thermal hot, cannot tolerate summers at all. Brains, nothing significant. Mental symptoms: sensitive and introvert, very work oriented, wants to remain in Mumbai for success of his job. Desire to weep, constant weeping state, consolation aggravate, wants to be in company, wants to share her problems. Systemic examination, no any difficulty. Laboratories investigation: TSH level is 11.4 on 29/5/2019. Provisional diagnosis: hypothyroidism. Differential diagnosis: sinusitis with hypothyroidism. And clarity of symptoms: mental symptoms: suppressed anger, anxiety about future, weeping tendency, consolation aggravation. Physical symptoms: thirst increased, desire sweet, stool hard and constipated. Patient needs to put strain for stool. Sleep disturbed from anxiety. Particulars: sneezing morning on waking. So here I took some rubrics: mind ailments from anger, suppressed; mind anxiety, future about; mind consolation aggravation; sleep disturbed, anxiety from stool hard, and nose sneezing morning; general food and drinks, beans aggravation. Okay, medicine prescribed here: Natamute 200, 3 dose, and Cyclex 30 TDS for 1 month. And first follow up 24/6/2019. Here, constipation is slightly improved, sleep as usual, hair fall little improved, sneezing persist, placebo will give. Okay, next follow up 26/7/2019. Constipation improved, sleep good but sometimes disturbed, hair falling tendency decreases, sneezing sometimes, prescribed Cyclex. And next follow up 28/8/2019. Constipation improved, sleep improved, sneezing improved, hair fall, appetite good, thirst good. TSH level is 6.41, and again we prescribed Estel. Here the reports on 29/5/2019. When he came first time, TSS is 11.41 pictures just before treatment and 6.41 after treatment of 3 months, 28/8/2019. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. Wonderful case.
Thank you,
Dr.
ma'am.
Amit, nowadays,
Yes, ma'am.
earlier we used to have the range of TSH were considered normal below 3. Like it was less than 4, you can say. Now the range has become little more increased. From 3 to 6, we consider normal range these days. So it was wonderful. Again, I must say that homeopathy reestablishes internal order at the deepest level and hereby provides a long-lasting cure. So thank you so much, Dr. Amit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now I call upon Dr. Manoj Yadav. Dr. Manoj Yadav will speak on the mechanism homeopathy works, how homeopathy medicine acts. Dr. Manoj Yadav, over to you. Dr. Manoj, are you there? Dr. Manoj Yadav? Okay.
Ma'am, please tell him to raise his hand and we can unmute. You also can unmute your co-host.
No, his name is not visible on screen. Dr. Manoj, are you there? Just raise your hand. Dr. Manoj? Okay, let's move ahead. Now we have a new speaker, Dr. Divya. Dr. Divya. Dr. Divya? Yes, Dr. Divya? Dr. Divya?
Please tell them to hand raise, we can unmute.
Dr. Divya?
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise, yes, please raise a hand. Where are you? Not visible here.
Raise hand how? Reactions.
You go to
Oh,
the,
you can talk. You are talking now.
yeah,
It's unmuted.
unmuted, yeah. Divya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
Yeah, come on. Share the screen. Yes, we can see you now.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're talking on temperament.
Dr.
Temperament in
Vidya, you
homeopathy.
can talk. You are spotlighted.
Spotlight.
No, just start
Spotlight.
talking.
Spotlight. Is that okay, ma'am? Am
Yes,
I
ma'am,
audible?
it's good. Yeah, correct. Good. You can talk.
So, good afternoon to all. I, Dr. Divya, is a PG scholar from National Homeopathic Medical College. I am currently pursuing my PG degree from Organon of Medicine. And I'm going to start my presentation by sharing my screen on the topic importance of temperament in homeopathic prescription. So what is temperament? As we all read and we know that the base of prescription of homeopathy is the individualization, and temperament is the most important and peculiar component of that. But in clinical practices, we did not consider much emphasize the temperament of an individual during our clinical practice and in our prescriptions. So I choose this topic to present over here. So the temperament, what is the temperament? The temperament is originated from a Latin word, that is the temper, and which is later known in Latin as temperamentum, and in English it is temper. Temperament indicates the character, disposition, and tendencies of an individual that is revealed in his or her reactions to the environment. Continuation to this, it was Hippocrates who first developed the temperament in the medical theory. He believed that the certain human moods, emotions, and behaviors were caused by some fluids called cardinal fluids, according to his humoral theory, which are blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. He said that excess or deficiencies of these humors causes the illness, and later on a Roman scientist named Galen projected his temperamental theory based on the Hippocrates' observations. According to Hippocrates' humoral theory, he asserts that the human bodies consist of the 4 humors which represents the cardinal fluids. These cardinal fluids are blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. Each humor is associated with the different organ or the season. As yellow bile is associated with the liver and summer, black bile is associated with the spleen and autumn, and phlegm is associated with brain and winter. Blood is associated with the heart and spring. As according to his temperamental theory, you can see the 4 elements, the basic elements, the seasons, and the 4 classical temperaments. As sanguine is prone to optimism, phlegmatic is prone to apathy, melancholic is prone to sadness, and choleric is prone to anger. They have the trait, have such qualities or dispositions in their lives. So according to Dr. Hippocrates, so the 4 classical temperament he has described, which are the sanguine, which is optimistic, outgoing, loquacious, and extroverted. Melancholic is sad, taciturn, cautious, anxious, or introverted. Choleric is angry, hatred, impulsive, and dominating dictatorial personalities, and phlegmatic is calm, mild, slow going, or passive personalities. They are the peculiar characteristic of the 4 classical temperaments, as you can see, the phlegmatic, melancholic, choleric, and sanguine, and their respective qualities to assess their temperaments. Why it is important to evaluate or to consider in our practice? Because in homeopathy literature, as we found, the temperament is one of the characteristic of totality, and our base of prescription is totality of the symptom or the individualization. And also Dr. Boning Hassan, we have all aware of 7 points of Dr. Boning Hassan, which one of which is quiz, which is the first point, and that means who means the nature and personality of an individual. There are some few shades of few remedies from Ellen's keynote with their specific temperament has mentioned under each specific remedy, as chamomile is a person with nervous excitable temperament, coffea cruda is a person of sanguine choleric temperament, ferrum metallicum persons of sanguine temperament, pettish quarrelsome irritable, gelsemium especially women of nervous hysterical temperament, irritable sensitive persons, hyoscyamus is a person of sanguine temperament who are irritable, ignatia especially suited to nervous temperament, women of a sensitive nature. After that, there are some repertories which also contain a few or more temperamental rubrics under their different sections, which are Knorr repertory, Clark, Murphy, Synchronous, and Zandvoort. with different graded medicine under their specific rubrics. I presented here the NUT repertory because as it is Puriton type of repertory and it has the maximum number of medicine under the chapter stages of life and constitution, and there are different temperaments, that is as melancholic, phlegmatic, sanguine, and choleric. So this is my presentation. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Nutan ma'am, to give me an opportunity to speak at such a platform, and all the organizers and the committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Divya. It was wonderful presentation on temperament. Yes, as I have been saying that the temperament is a part of constitution, and which depends on the time of the situations at the time of conception, situation at the time of labor, at the time of birth, and during pregnancy. So beautifully you explain all the classification. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Now
so
I
much,
call
ma'am.
upon- Yes. Now I call upon Dr. Taura Ahmed. She will take a very you can say the most practical topic, challenges for homeopath today. So over to you, Taura. Taura Ahmed. Dr. Taura Ahmed, please join us.
Just raise your hand. We can't see.
Please raise your hand. Dr. Taura, Dr. Manoj Yadav, please raise your hand.
Open your video. Open your video.
Dr. Manoj, Dr. Taura. Difficult to identify on screen. Please raise your hand. Dr. Manoj,
Participants,
Dr.
please
Taura.
open your video. Please open your video. Presenters, please open your video so that we can identify you.
Dr. Manoj, Dr. Taura, open your video so that we can identify
Yes, sir.
you. Where are you, Dr. Taura? Are you there?
Newton Sharma, you can unmute from your side. And then Dr. Divya also.
They are not visible by their names. So maybe the handset or I don't know.
Dr. Divya, I will support you. No,
Doctor-
sorry.
Dr. Taura, Dr. Manoj, please let us know about your presence. Where are you? Please raise your hand or message us. Okay, let's move ahead. Our new
Ma'am, please repeat the name. I will check in the list. Dr. Manoj is here. ma'am. I will. Manoj Yadav.
Dr. Manoj Yadav. Dr. Taura Ahmed.
He was there, but not seen now.
Yeah, he was visible quite some time back. But now disappeared. I don't know. He just called up.
Maybe the net problem here. They will come back.
Yeah, maybe. So let's move ahead to our next new guest today afternoon, Dr. Garima Verma. Dr. Garima Verma. She will have talk on advantages of homeopathy.
Yeah,
in-
She's available. Yes.
I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes.
Is audible. Come, over to you.
Yeah. I, Dr. Garima Verma, PGT from State National Homeopathic Medical College, UP. I am going to present my views on advantages of homeopathy over conventional modes of treatment. Now, as we all know, homeopathy has existed for more than 200 years, and yet it is the youngest system of medicine. Homeopathy can be summarized in just 3 S: scientific, sound principled, and side effect free. And the rationale behind homeopathy is not just to treat the symptoms of pathology, but the homeopathy acts on the prime base, that is our immune system. And the homeopathy enhances our immune system to the level of positive response. And all of this is achieved in the gentlest way possible, taking the individual not only out of disease, but onto the path of health. Now, I want to talk about some advantages of homeopathy. And first is, homeopathy is a complete medical science, which has a clear-cut advantage over other systems of medicine, as homeopathy considers the entire individual, his psychological and physical makeup, as well as the complete evolution of the disease while prescribing a remedy. Now, secondly, the homeopathy aims at removing the cause. As we all see in today's conventional practice, that the physician spends very little time with the patient. He may listen to what is wrong with you and just give little time and give some medication for that particular suffering only. But a homeopath will inquire into the cause behind the trouble and go into the root of the disease. For example, if you have a recurring headache, maybe due to some disorders in your body, such as constipation or acidity or some stress, a homeopath will aim to remove that reason behind your headache, such as constipation or stress, or inquire patiently why you are stressed. And hence homeopathic physician will show the patient the way out of his illness. See, and thirdly, agar homeopathy has a holistic methodology, the homeopathic physician takes a detailed history of the patient, including his physical complaints, attributes, and emotional situation. Now, this type of detailed history of the patient when we are taking, this has twofold advantage. One, the detailed history elicits the root cause of the illness. And secondly, it has a suitable channel for the patient to vent his innermost thoughts and feelings as the patient feels better. Fourthly, if we talk, homeopathy has no side effects. Homeopathy has a side effect-free treatment that is gentle on constitution, because homeopathy medicines are the derivatives of natural substances, and the doses prescribed by a qualified physicians are never more than the patient actually needs. And the fifth, the homeopathy improves immunity. Homeopathy improves immunity by stimulating and restoring the body's vital energy to heal. And when this happens, you will get rid of each of your troubles, small or big, old or new, because the immune system is energized. And also homeopathy protects you from the future troubles also. And this is the beauty of our homeopathy. Sixthly, homeopathic medicine is the safest medicine. It's very safe even for the pregnant ladies and the babies. It can be taken along with other medications without causing any adverse interactions or reactions. Homeopathic medicine do not lead to any drug abuse or substance abuse, dependency, anything. Homeopathy has a preventive capacity. Homeopathy works as a preventive, as it helps to maintain the healthy state of individual, not affected by the environment. Medicines can be given as prophylactics to prevent the individual from contracting a disease that people around him may be suffering from. For example, if a child is suffering from a chickenpox, in order to prevent the other child from getting the infection, if he is given the indicated remedy, he will not suffer from the disease, or even if he suffers, it will be in a very mild form. And lastly, the homeopathic medicine can be very useful during the epidemic diseases. The remedy that is selected on the symptoms that are characteristic during the epidemic is known as the genus epidemicus. Such carefully selected remedies can prevent a person from acquiring the epidemic disease. Now I want to conclude my speech by thanking everyone for listening me so patiently, and my special thanks to Dr. Nutan Sharma ma'am for providing me such a huge platform to present myself. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Garima. No doubt,
Thank you, ma'am.
the holistic healthcare system of medicine will remain very big attraction in future.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
now I call upon, thank you. Now I call upon Dr. Taura Ahmed for having a talk on challenges for homeopath today. Dr. Taura. Dr. Taura. Dr. Manoj. Dr. Manoj. Yes, come. Dr. Manoj. Dr. Manoj, we cannot hear you. Your voice is cracking in between.
He can unmute from his side.
Dr. Manoj, just message me if you are there.
I think he has some net problem because that sound is not clear that much.
Yeah, I think I can't find Dr. Taura also.
Gaurav, wait, ma'am, I will check
Dr.
in
Taura,
the.
Dr. Taura Ahmed.
Wait, I will check. I don't know where one phone is, iPhone is there, and they can put their name, rename. We can. I unmute one Dr. Manoj.
I also did the same, but I think he's not getting connected.
Yeah, because he has some. Sunanda Kapoor is with you, ma'am?
No, we have Kirti Mishra.
Kirti Mishra.
Taura Ahmed.
No.
I'm not finding their name on screen.
Yeah, correct. Not here.
Maybe the net issue?
Yeah, maybe the net issue.
Okay, so let's conclude our session.
Till what time? Only one more minute.
We were given a time slot of 1 to 2 p.m. So I think
okay, yeah.
We are
one more minute left now.
Time limit of only 5 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, let me speak out something. Definitely there are certain challenges for us as a homeopath all over the world. Although WHO has already said that 95% of pediatrician, psychiatric physicians use homeopathic mode of treatment to their patients, but still they are not recognizing us as a the primary mode of treatment that we have already seen during pandemic time. So how we can fight, like what to do, what are the areas we should emphasize more. First of all, improve. We should improve ourselves first. Like homeopathic physicians should focus on documentation, the cases they are treating on daily basis, and they should focus on publication. And most importantly, record keeping should be more refined with all the data and evidences. Secondly, we should write our cases, our treated cases, our results to different international health organizations time to time regarding efficacy of homeopathy on regular basis through proper channel. Like I'm very happy to inform you all that 90% of our speakers yesterday and today, they are all medical officers in state government and government of India. So likewise, we have to encourage our students, our PG scholars, and our research and we should more focus on our research programs conducting in colleges. And we should ask for abundant funds from state government or government of India for the same. Secondly, in UP, we were doing certain kind of chat shows, certain kind of, you can say, talk shows. The common or uncommon, both famous physicians, they appear on the chat show, they explain about their results, their success stories of the homeopathy, so that the students get encouraged, you know. Thirdly, opening for prospects of homeopaths. In India, UP has, I think, more than 2,000 openings every year or in every 5 years for all kind of homeopaths, like homeopathic pharmacists, homeopathic medical officers, or lecturers, readers, professors, so that people will get more prospects of homeopathy as a career option they will choose, and our family will be expanded. So likewise, to set up scholarships and awards for teachers, for students all over the globe. So this is for now. I thank you, the team of IFPH, for inviting us and making us part of this global historical event today. Thank you, Dr. Shaji, Dr. Said, Dr. Varghese, Dr. Jose, and one and all our audience and distinguished guests tonight, today afternoon. So thank you, Dr. Shaji, over to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is so much.